Greetings, this is the Mastidane, and today we're going to talk about the righteous Southern Poverty Law Center, and it's going to be good. The Southern Poverty Law Center spent years strutting around in a white lab coat, wagging a laser pointer and a clipboard, diagnosing the nation with extremism, and then passing that donation jar like a televangelist at a tent revival. Their whole marketing machine ran on fear-mongering, hyperbolic, that's a big word, hyperbolic fundraising appeals, endless warnings that hate was always rising, always spreading, always one big fat check away from being stopped. And get this, one of their former writers, they write all this freaking stuff. Anyway, one of their former writers, Bob Moser, is on the record saying, staffers felt like pawns in a, quote, highly profitable scam. And he also said, we're part of the con, and we knew it. Oh my gosh, seriously? And now the really good part, and this is just too good. A federal grand jury just recently, just like 4 or 5 days ago, indicted the, we're going to call it the SPLC for short, because it's a big long word that, I'm black, and I'm a dog, it's hard to say, so we're just gonna say SPLC. So on 11 counts, they had indicted them on 11 counts, including wire fraud, false statements to a federally insured bank, and money laundering conspiracy. Oh my gosh. And the indictment says donor money was secretly funneled to people tied to far-right outfits, including the KKK, Aryan Nation, the National Alliance, the United Clans of America, the National Socialist Movement. Well, isn't that what our libertards are now, aren't they? All the National Socialist Movement. Anyway, the Aryan Nation the Aryan Nation affiliated Sadistic Souls Motorcycle Club. Oh my gosh, that is a mouthful. What the heck is that? Like they even have a New Zealand chapter. Okay, who else? The National Socialist Party of America. Yeah, isn't that our Democratic Congress? Aren't they all that? Anyway, the American Front, and even a former Grand Wizard of the Knights of the KKK. Is that still a thing? I mean, really? Seriously? Okay, so the sales pitch was, send us money and we'll put out the fire. While the indictment says they were paying arson consultants, handing out marshmallows to the pyromaniacs, and then charging admission to make the s'mores. Yeah, that's what they were doing. So you got the self-righteous, like, we're going to stomp out racism, and we're going to get all these extremist groups, but we're going to pay them to do all the bad stuff so we can save the world. That's right. Oh yeah, and Charlottesville. You remember Charlottesville. You remember that psyop. Yeah. Remember when Trump said there were very fine people on both sides? The people that wanted to keep the statue of Robert E. Lee, and then the ones that wanted to take it down? Yeah, that's where this whole thing starts to smell like a dead rat in the air duct. The SPLC built part of its legend by bankrupting people like Tom Metzger and the White Aryan Resistance, and they bankrupted the KKK. Alright, fine. Nobody decent is crying over the Klan getting financially kneecapped. No, we're not. None of us are. Well, except maybe those people. But they also helped take down our most famous residents who came here from California, Richard Butler, who ran a small Aryan Nation compound in Hayden, Idaho, 25 years ago. But let me tell you, the good people of North Idaho were extremely happy to see this scumbag gutted. But just for good measure, the Southern Poverty Law Center has not stopped stoking those embers and keeps North Idaho on their hate map. Yep. You say anything about North Idaho and everybody's like, oh yeah, you bunch of racist, Aryan Nation Nazis. Yeah, right, give me a freaking break. Okay, I digress. Back to Charlottesville. The federal indictment says one SPLC field source, F-37, they give them numbers, like, field source, that would be F. So F-37, he's high up in those ranks, was the right-wing radical in the online leadership chat that planned the 2017 Unite the Right rally. He attended the event, Now get this, and this is in the indictment, at the direction of the SPLC. Yes, you heard me right. At the direction of the Southern Poverty Law Center. What a stupid name, Southern Poverty Law Center. Anyway, he made racist posts, again, in the indictment, under the supervision of the SPLC. Oh my gosh, like, here's the racist crap you're gonna post, and you're gonna post it, we're gonna pay you. And they help coordinate transportation for attendees. You know, like when people say, nobody was bussed here, this is all organic. Bull crap. Anyway, F-37 was paid by the moral and righteous SPLC more than $270,000 for his good deeds to the cause. So let me get this straight. The group that marketed itself as the exterminator of snakes is now renting out terrariums, feeding the cobras, and then selling anti-venom to scare donors. That's hysterical. That's not moral leadership. That is a bait shop for social panic. That is a fear factor with a non-profit logo. And I mean, come on, even if only half of that indictment holds up, then the SPLC wasn't just pointing at the circus freaks. It was helping to keep the tent standing and full of paid donors. Now roll the tape forward to Charlie Kirk. Yeah, we all miss Charlie. Anyway, on May 22nd, 2025, SPLC published its Turning Point USA hit piece in the 2024, and I quote, Year in Hate and Extremism Report. Yeah, that's a real thing. Yeah, it is. Their own wording described Charlie Kirk's Turning Point USA as a, and I'm quoting, well-funded, hard-right organization, and said TPUSA was, here we go, quote, at the forefront of the movement to promote Christian nationalism. Whoa, that's a terrible thing. Yeah, right. Christian nationalism. I mean, what does that even mean? That we're Christians and we like our nation? Okay. So anyway, less than 16 weeks after their hit piece on Turning Point, on September 10th, 2025, Charlie Kirk was murdered in Utah at Valley University. You know, he's just trying to get people to share their opinions. You know, what do you think? Yeah, what's your beef? Okay, so the timing alone doesn't prove legal causation, but spare me the kindergarten routine where we all should pretend insightful words from a national smear machine just float around like harmless soap bubbles. Yeah, nope, they don't. They land, they stain, they frame. Yeah, they frame. They turn a man into a symbol, and a symbol into a target, a friggin' target. Reuters reported Charlie was fatally shot on September 10th, and the accused killer was later reported to have said he'd had enough of Kirk's hatred. Oh my gosh. That does not prove SPLC pulled the trigger, but it absolutely raises the question whether an outfit that drops people into a well-branded lunatic left ecosystem called hate and extremists is helping paint bullseyes and then hiding behind their little freaking footnotes when the glass breaks. And let's not forget the selective outrage here. Remember, Trump was impeached on a charge of incitement of insurrection. Insurrection! After a speech that included a line, I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard.
I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard. Today we will see whether Republicans stand strong for integrity of our elections.
Yep. That's what he said. Peacefully and patriotically. Those were the words. But somehow that was sold as incitement, while the institutional defamation engines get to spray gasoline through a freaking fire hose and call it civic hygiene, purification, baptism by fire. And this is where the broad fishing net gets ugly, because it isn't just Charlie Kirk. SPLC's own anti-government general page, that's what it's called, anti-government general, it's a page on their site. It says this movement used to be called the Patriot Movement. Yeah, you can't say the Patriot Movement. You have to say anti-government general. And in that same apparatus, it lists Turning Point USA, Moms for Liberty, the Constitution Party, the Tea Party of Kentucky, United Patriot Party of North Carolina, Utah Patriots, and United States Minutemen, American Patriots Coalition, and on and on and on. They even have Gays Against Grooming on there. Yeah, gays who don't want kids groomed to be trans. Yeah, they're domestic terrorists. They're bad people. Yep. Jeez Louise. I mean, they're going after the gays just because they don't want kids groomed to be trans? Give me a break. On a separate page, SPLC maintains a Radical Traditional Catholicism category with a section titled 2024 Radical Traditional Catholicism Hate Groups. Did you get that? Yeah, it is a section titled 2024 Radical Traditional Catholicism Hate Groups. Seriously, they got their own page. So there it is. Moms, patriots, Constitution Party people, Catholics. Yeah, it's not just skinheads and jackboots, not just trailer park Klansmen playing dress up with tiki torches. The smear net has widened and widened and widened until mainstream conservatives, parental groups, patriot-branded groups, and Catholics can all be tossed into the same rhetorical blender and pureed into extremism for the media buffet. That is not watchdog work. That's narrative taxidermy. And they don't just expose people they disagree with. They stuff them, mount them, and hang them on the wall, labeled dangerous. So here's my bark to Erica Kirk. Take the leash off. If the SPLC made a career out of dragging organizations and normal USA-loving folks into court and destroying them financially, then maybe it's time someone aimed that same weapon back at the kennel. I mean, seriously, folks, did the relentless rhetoric from the Southern Poverty Law Center have anything to do with the death of Charlie Kirk? Did their hateful rhetoric saying that, he was a white nationalist and Turning Point USA were fear-mongering and just makes me so mad. So did they have anything at all to do with inciting people and inciting the media to say all this stuff, and how many people get on Facebook and TikTok and all this stuff and celebrated the death of Charlie Kirk? Were they influenced by the rhetoric of the Southern Poverty Law Center? It seems to me like they were inciting people to do violent things. Yeah, because you know what? They were out there paying these right-wing radicals to do their bidding. I think Erica Kirk needs to get on board with this, because in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, and remember, I'm black and I'm a dog, but I think that the Southern Poverty Law Center had a lot to do with Charlie's death. Look at wrongful death theories about Charlie's estate. Look at defamation. Look at unlawful interference. Look at every freaking discovery tool that can pry open the secret filing cabinets, the buried emails, the fear-monger donor pitches, the internal messaging, the whole little saintly puppet theater. And if there is a bridge, any bridge, even one built with toothpicks, between SPLC's branding machine and the lunatic liberal den of vipers that incited these lunatics to turn Charlie Kirk into a human dartboard, then pulverize it with a bulldozer, bankrupt them, strip the self-righteous moral paint off their walls, turn their own playbook into the sledgehammer that caves their freaking front door porch, cave it right in, because if this organization spent decades making money off public fear, expanding its blacklist machinery, and now stands accused of paying people inside the very far-right sewer it claimed to be draining, then maybe the most fitting end is for Erica Kirk to do what the SPLC love doing to others, take them down and destroy them financially. This is the Mastidane, still sniffing lies, still biting narratives, still guarding my human. Good day.